Hi Year 11s, this is your pre-recorded lesson for Wednesday. Obviously I'm in school on Wednesday, so I'm not able to teach you live. So what we're going to do is a walkthrough of all the preparation you need to cope with a question on Sheila Birling when we're looking at inspector calls. You'll be able to complete this work, and you must complete this work because on Thursday we're going to look at how to actually write an exam answer for this. Okay. So obviously, as you're just using a recording, there won't be a starter or anything like that on it. Okay, so our learning outcomes today are, first of all, how can we, our topic question, as it always is when we're doing literature at the moment with the set text, we're looking at how we can deepen our knowledge and understanding of that component. But today we're going to look specifically at Sheila Birling and to a lesser extent, we're going to comment on her relationship with Gerald because I think that's quite important. Okay, so that's going to be our learning intention today. And we're going to make sure by the end of this session we've got good annotations of the extract, and also you have started to make some good Cornell notes for the rest of the play. So, without further ado, okay, so your key messages. First of all, the timings on this question have changed. It's the extract and the whole novel is 1 hour. It used to be 45 minutes. Everything else is the same though. Make sure you know what your keywords in the question. They're very generic. These literature questions will either be how is such a theme presented or how is such a person presented. Okay, and this one is how is Sheila presented. You need to track through the extract. Make sure you've got your relevant quotes. Working through the extract with a beginning, middle and end approach. You always start with an overview. Try to say something intelligent about the theme or character. Once you've done your extract, you are going to talk about this character in other key moments in the play. Usually we do 3. Okay. If you can, make some links to context. Actually, that's a mistake on this. It says Victorian London, but it's actually Edwardian. Okay. And then by saying what impact the character has on the plot, why this character significant, what can we say that's intelligent about this character? Okay, don't worry about any of that at the moment because this is the prep lesson. Okay, so at this point, I'd like you to just pause this recording, then you can look at some of these key quotes because I think they're very useful in giving you an idea about what kind of person Sheila is. Obviously, I'm not just going to read a slide to you at this point, so pause this, okay? Make sure you've taken that in. If you want to make some brief notes in the Cornell grid that I'm going to attach in this work, that'd be great. Okay, assuming that you've now paused this and made those quick notes, and I didn't want you to spend long on them, we're going to move on. So, this is your exam question, okay? So we look through this, write about the character Sheila and how she's presented, look at her in this extract and the rest of the play. That's always the questions. Okay, what I'm going to do then is I'm going to ask you to spend some time annotating your text, okay? So hopefully this will work, this link. Okay, so I have inserted for you in the Google Classroom a Google Docs version of the exam question so that it is editable, so you're able to put your comments on it. Okay, so we're going to do this much like we did yesterday. I'm going to do the first couple for you. Okay, but then I'm going to ask you to pause and spend probably about 10 minutes annotating the rest yourself. Okay, so we are going to start with this bit here. I'm going to just make a comment on this so you can see you're doing what I'm doing. You highlight and you add a comment. Okay, so what would I say at that point? Oops, as if I'm spelling Sheila wrong. Okay, Sheila herself to have some regard for working people. Now, given that we know what's to follow, and we obviously do, we know the play, I think there's a little bit of a sense where you could comment, is she aware of this in practice as much as in theory? So I might add that now. Okay, so I'm going to do is comment, and then all I mean by that is she talks that she's well aware that these are human beings and not just resources. And yet, if you think what's to follow, that's exactly what she does with Sheila, despite that feeling. That doesn't make her a hypocrite, it just makes her human, that she doesn't live up to her own ideals sometimes. You know, selfishness and insecurities get in the way, and that's what happens. So, okay, I'm going to just go to this comment here because I think that's interesting, what happened to her then, okay? And I think what's really interesting is that Sheila is, showing a genuine interest in Eva, even though she, I'm going to put it in brackets, thinks she's never met her. So there is some empathy there, isn't there? Because, yeah, we know later on that she has met Eva, but of course she genuinely doesn't know that. Okay? So, I think I'm just going to do one more for you, and then you'll see the point of this. Okay? So, I think here we have a couple of things that are worth talking about. We know that Millward's was an expensive shop, so we saw that she reveals the spoiled, materialistic side of herself by saying that. But also, I think there's a little bit of flirtation for Gerald. You can see that she is eager to show him that she wants to look nice for him. I think, it's funny because in many respects, Sheila is very independent and clearly doesn't, she's at a time when the suffragette movement was important. She shows that she doesn't want to be subservient to men, but then, sort of disappointingly for a modern audience, kind of does fall into that stereotype of wanting to please her man. I've not written all that down, but obviously those comments are there. So I just feel like this is a really good way of you making your notes. Of course, if you're printing them out or getting them sent home and done on paper, that's fine. You can just do your annotations. But this is a really, really good way of you being able to view your annotations. Okay, so at this point, I want you to stop the recording and spend at least about 10 minutes annotating the rest of that. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to assume that you've done that. And what I want to do is you to start with the rest of the lesson making some notes for the rest of the play. So in your Google Classroom, you'll find I've inserted a Cornell grid for Sheila. Okay. I have also put an online version of the play to help. Okay. So you'll see on my hyperlink, but you'll have it in your Google Classroom in any case. You will see there's a full copy of the text. So it's possible for you to have that open in another tab, as you can see. Now, I couldn't make this editable so you could put your comments on it, because when you convert the PDFs to Google Docs, it kind of messes about. And when I was just doing one page for your extract, it was sort of relatively easy for me to put it all in the right sort of frame. But with 66 pages, it'd just take me like a week and a half to get done. So we will have to stick to looking at the PDF. So what I want you to do there is I want you to start making some notes in your Cornell grid. And what I've done is I've given you page references. Now, although those page references are for the paper copy, I have checked through and they are pretty much right for what we're looking for. So you can at least, as a starting point, do that. Okay, so what I'm looking for is for you to do a good set of Cornell notes. Given you only spent about 10 minutes doing the annotations, I'd probably like you to spend another at least 20 minutes doing this. Remember, these are meant to be hour-long lessons. And I think if you've done this and done a good job, you'll have everything you need for the next lesson. And that's it from me. Okay, if you have any questions, please post them in the chat. Although I am in school and I won't be teaching you live, I am able to monitor the lesson on my tablet as I walk around. So anything that you want to know, please don't hesitate to ask. And I'll see you tomorrow morning.